Alrighty, hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about Objective 3.3, which is about solving and graphing multi-step inequalities. Multi-step inequalities are pretty much the same as multi-step equations, except we're going to have to graph them on a number line, exactly the same as the two-step inequalities and the one-step inequalities. So let's take a look at the do now. We have negative 5x plus 7 is less than 37. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to treat this exactly the same as a two-step equation. We're going to subtract 7 on both sides. Okay, on the left my 7s are going to cancel, and then we're going to be left with negative 5x is less than 30. Okay, now since we have negative 5 times x, we're going to divide both sides by negative 5. Remember, when we divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality symbol. So we're going to get x is less than negative 6. Alright, so now when we plot our solutions, remember all we need to put is our 0 and our critical value. Negative 6 is going to go to the left of 0 on the number line because it's negative. We're going to put an open circle and we're going to shade to the left. The reason why we're putting an open circle is because we do not have the or equal to sign. The reason we're shading to the left is because any number that's less than negative 6 is going to be to the left of negative 6 on the number line. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. We have x divided by 5 plus 3.6 is greater than or equal to 5.1. So what we're going to do, don't let it freak you out that we have decimals. We're going to do exactly the same steps here. Let me fix these lines. We're going to subtract 3.6 on both sides. And 3.6 is going to cancel here. And then we're going to be left with x over 5 is greater than or equal to 5.1 minus 3.6 is going to give us 1.5. And now we have x divided by 5. Remember that fraction means division. Okay, so we're going to multiply both sides by 5 to get rid of the 5 in the denominator. That's going to cancel these 5s, and we're going to be left with x is greater than or equal to 1.5 times 5 gives us 7.5. Alright, now we're going to plot our 0 and our positive 7.5 to the right of 0 on the number line because it's a positive number. And now we're going to put a closed circle because we have this or equal to symbol, and we're going to shade to the right because anything that is greater than 7.5 is going to be to the right of 7.5 on the number line. Okay, so our goal when we're solving multi-step inequalities is always to get the variable by itself. Same thing as when we're solving any equation or any inequality. Okay, we're going to be doing that by using inverse or opposite operations. Okay, or we've said this before, when solving multi-step inequalities, we can use PEMDAS backwards, okay, to help us decide which operation to undo first. We've said that many times. Okay, when solving multi-step inequalities, we're going to do the same thing. So, multi-step equations, multi-step inequalities, pretty much exactly the same steps, except the only thing new is that we're going to graph it on a number line, which we've been doing in the one-step and two-step inequalities lessons as well. So, here we have an example. We have 5n minus 3n minus 5 is greater than 17. As always, we're going to simplify both sides first. Okay? Now, just as a review of what that means we have to maybe do the distributive property. And we may have to combine like terms. Okay, in that order. We're always going to do the distributive property first, and then we're going to combine like terms. Okay, whoop. So now, in this example right here, there is no distributive property to do, but we are going to combine like terms. So we have 5n minus 3n combines to be 2n. The minus 5 does not get combined with anything because it's by itself, so it gets brought down. And then we're going to solve the inequality, the two-step inequality that results exactly the same way we've been doing. Add 5 to both sides, divide by 2, then we're going to get n is greater than 11. So now notice that I plotted the 11 with an open circle and I shaded to the right, because any number that's greater than 11 is going to be to the right of 11 on the number line. Okay, now to check, We've talked about checks before. Okay, we're going to take any number that's greater than 11. So we took 20 here. And we're going to plug it in wherever we see an n. Okay? When I do that, I'm going to get this. And then when I simplify the left here, I'm going to get 35 is greater than 17. Now that's a true statement. Even though they're not the same, this is a true statement. Okay, 35 is greater than 17. So that doesn't mean that we're 100% know for a fact that we're correct, but we know that we're probably correct. Okay? So now, let's take a look at number 1. Okay, we're going to do 6 examples together. Number 1, we have negative 3 times d plus 2 is less than negative 3. So what we're going to do is we need to simplify both sides first. Okay, the right is only negative 3, so there's nothing to simplify there. On the left, we're going to do the distributive property. So negative 3 times d gives us negative 3d. And negative 3 times positive 2 gives us minus 6. And now, we have a regular old two-step inequality. So we're going to add 6. These 6's are going to cancel. We have negative 3d is less than positive 3. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And now when we divide both sides by negative 3, remember, whenever we divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we have to flip the symbol. So we have d is greater than negative 1. Okay? So now I'm going to plot my 0, plot my negative 1, put d in open circle at negative 1 because we have just greater than, not greater than or equal to, and we're going to shade to the right. Alright, let me make my handwriting a little bit nicer here. Alright, and then that's it. So we have to remember when we divide both sides by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality symbol, alright? Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we have 1.2c plus 1.2 is greater than or equal to 5.2c minus 0.4. So now, here we need to simplify both sides. On the left, there's nothing to simplify. We have 1.2c plus 1.2. On the right, we have 5.2c minus 0.4. 5.2 minus 0.4 is going to give us 4.8c. Okay, the reason I'm combining these is because they both have a c. They're like terms. Okay? Now, be careful. This looks like a two-step inequality, but we have a c here. So we're not going to subtract 1.2. We're going to subtract 1.2c on both sides. Okay, on the left, my 1.2c's are going to cancel. We're going to be left with 1.2 is greater than or equal to 4.8 minus 1.2 is going to give us 3.6c. And now, we're going to divide both sides by 3.6. Okay, we're dividing by the number in front of the c. So now 1.2 divided by 3.6 is going to give us 0.3 repeating, or 1/3. You could write either one. I'm going to write 1/3. Okay, don't let fractions confuse you. Just, use your graphing calculator to help you stay organized. Okay, now we have 1.3 is greater than or equal to c. So I'm going to rewrite it as this. c is less than or equal to 1/3. Not 1.3, 1/3. Okay? Now, when I graph this on a number line, we're going to put our 0. We're going to put positive 1/3. So we're going to go to the right of 0 on the number line. We're going to put a closed circle, and we're going to shade left, because anything less than 1/3 is going to be to the left of 1/3 on the number line. Okay? Number 3. 5c minus 14 is less than 2c plus 7. So this is a regular old two-step or multi-step inequality or equation. So we want to isolate the variable first, subtract 2c on both sides to keep it positive. Alright, that's going to leave us with 3c minus 14 is less than or equal to 7. We're going to add 14 to both sides. On the left, my 14s are going to cancel. We're going to be left with 3c is greater than or equal to 21. And then after I divide both sides by positive 3, I'm going to get c is less than or equal to 7. I don't flip the inequality symbol because we're dividing by a positive number. Okay, so now I have my 0, I have my 7. I'm going to put a closed circle on top of 7, and I'm going to shade to the left. Anything that is less than 7 is going to be to the left of 7 on the number line. All right? Number 4, I have 10a is greater than negative 5 times a plus 6. So on the right, we're going to do distributive property. On the left, we just have 10a. So now on the left, on the right, we have negative 5a minus 30. We want to isolate our variable, so we're going to add 5a to both sides. All right, on the right, our 5a's are going to cancel. We're going to be left with 15a is greater than negative 30. You got to bring down that minus sign. Now here, something I want to point out is that after we divide both sides by 15, we're going to get a is less than negative 2, but we are not flipping the inequality symbol. The reason why we're not flipping the inequality symbol is because we're dividing by a positive number. Even though our answer is negative, we're dividing by a positive number, so we're not flipping the inequality symbol. We only flip the inequality symbol when we actually divide by a negative number. Okay, so now we're going to plot our 0, plot our negative 2, put an open circle at a because we're missing that or equal to sign, and we're going to shade to the right because anything that is greater than negative 2 is going to be to the right of negative 2 on the number line. All right? Okay, let's do 2 more. So number 5. We have 3 times m minus 2 is greater than 18. We're going to apply the distributive property here. We're going to get 3m minus 6 is greater than 18. All right. Add 6 to both sides. On the right, my 6's are going to on the left, my 6's are going to cancel. We're going to be left with 3m is greater than 24. And then, after we divide both sides by 3, we're going to get m is greater than 8. Okay, so we're going to plot our 0, plot our 8, put an open circle at 8, and put an arrow shaded to the right. Because anything greater than 8 is going to be to the right of 8 on the number line. Okay, we're almost done. Number 6, on the left, we have negative 3b minus 11b, which is going to combine to be negative 14b. That plus 9 comes along for the ride because there's no like terms for that one. All right, now we're going to subtract 9 on both sides. On the left, my 9's are going to cancel. We're going to be left with negative 14b is less than, what is that? 65 minus 9 is 56. And then after I divide both sides by negative 14, I have to remember that when I'm dividing by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality symbol. So 56 divided by negative 14 gives us negative 4. All right. Now, I need to graph it. So I'm going to put my 0, put my negative 4, plot an open circle at negative 4 because I don't have that or equal to sign, and I'm going to shade to the right because anything that's greater than negative 4 is going to be to the right of negative 4 on the number line. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's 3.3. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.